Welcome to Dead Cell, episode 15, 16, and 18 at the same time. Today we're going to be talking about why Rotor Riot Rampage is too expensive. Just kidding.
So we're only doing these once every other week, but we decided to do this supplemental one because of our last episode. We got some facts wrong, and we just want to correct those. Basically, I mean, I can't speak for Grim Ripper. My reasoning for doing this, Grim was like, we should do an episode and talk about it. Not the whole time, but I was like, yeah, that's a good idea because I don't want to, I don't want to misrepresent facts. I don't want to say false things and have that just float out there without correcting myself. So my intention for doing this is to correct some false statements that we made. Grim.
Yeah, exactly. And just sort of clarify what I meant, maybe what bot meant in some things. Specifically, I know that I said a lot of things that may have been misconstrued as me stating them as if they were facts. But
should we, in case people didn't listen to the last episode,
yeah,
we did an episode about the Rotor Riot Rampage and how it was $850 to camp, and we thought that was way too expensive and predatory on the community.
Yeah,
so and that was the last episode.
Yeah, and we were wrong about the price because the $850 was for a not specifically like camping on the ground. It's a more nice campsite. I can
read the description.
A nicer tent.
It includes 4 nights of a campsite with a large glamping tent, twin air mattress, and lighting already set up for you in a premium location on the campgrounds. All meals are provided from check-in to check-out. So I will apologize for not reading further into the description and seeing that. But the way the website is set up, the first ticket is it's a platinum pass for $1,100, and then the camping pass. And you have to scroll down, I guess, to my credit, to the very, very, very bottom of the page to see the tent campsites right there. So, that's my way of weaseling out of it and also apologizing.
Yeah. So
not to Rotor Riot, but to Bubby's mom.
Yeah. I'm apologizing. Okay. So also to clarify, people that I have no issue with any individual at Rotor Riot as an organization. And honestly, I don't really have an issue with the organization, but I'm not apologizing to an organization or a company because it's not a real thing to apologize to.
Right. Correct.
So people that work hard to do this event, if they feel like we were attacking them or anything like that, that was not our intention.
Correct.
That's not the intent. And a lot of things that I said in that episode were not necessarily things that I thought were true, and I could have clarified better and spoke more clearly on that. But most everything I was saying, I was just speaking rumors, which is probably bad.
Off what I saw, I had the webpage pulled up as I do now,
but
I just neglected to read further and scroll down because I guess I was just like, oh, what? I was pissed that I saw that. But
all the other shit that I was saying, like about profits and all that stuff. All that stuff was just speculative things that I heard from somebody else. And I should have said, this probably is not true. And I don't know if it's true, but this is just what I heard. And
I feel like you said enough to be like, I don't know if this is true. I feel like you weren't stating it as fact.
Yeah, so I wasn't trying to state that stuff as fact. So
let me ask you this. Would we be doing this episode if Bardwell hadn't made a video about it?
No, because I don't think Bardwell started early enough in our podcast for it to say that none of these things are fact. None of these things are things that I said or that I think are true.
We're not doing. Go ahead.
So when he started his analysis or his reaction to our video,
I didn't watch the video. You watched?
I watched it. He kind of started
myself.
He kind of started it
about myself. So.
I think he started at a point after I had said that somebody had told me this. Not that it makes it right that I'm just like repeating rumors and shit in an unclear way, but yeah, those are just things that I heard. And we don't really treat this podcast as a fact-based podcast. It's not really like, this isn't a place you come to get factual news or factual information. We're just sort of bullshitting around. So
I dabbed the whole time.
Yeah,
I'd love to comment real quick to Bubby's mom and said something like that. Like, we treat this podcast as just two dudes fucking bullshitting with each other about stuff, not a factual show. But now that I realize, we're getting 5,000 to 10,000 views per episode, we should probably start fucking checking ourselves and whether or not, no matter this episode, regardless, no matter what, like exactly, just in general, I think that's a nice thing to do, is not just talk out of our asses when people are listening to us.
Yeah, and again, I sometimes just forget that it's not just like a phone call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It feels very much so. It feels very much so like that. We treat it as that. That's how we're comfortable doing this and shit. We don't really have a script or fucking anything.
Yeah.
So there will be some inaccuracies and some opinions and shit. But if anything like this happens, we definitely want to correct it and be like, hey, we weren't trying to fucking spread misinformation or anything like that. There's already enough of that in this fucking crazy climate we live in.
But I do want to then finally state.
Oh wait, I'm gonna mute myself and do a dab.
Okay, this is my opinion. I don't know. I'm sure Bogrinder holds it, but I can't speak for him. While justified the price, even if the price of everything, we got those facts wrong, and even if the price for Rampage is justifiable, I still think that it's expensive at the end of the day, right? But I also think that a MacBook is expensive, but I'll buy a MacBook. All right. That doesn't mean that I don't think it's too expensive. That's, I guess, a good analogy that I could use. Well, I think that it's possible that Rampage is too expensive. I would still buy a ticket and go. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's like, that probably wasn't clear in the last episode, but I don't think it, but at the time I really didn't think that it mattered. So, but now just, that's sort of where I'm at with that. I still do think it's too expensive, but I guess, and if you want to, and again, like if you want to spend that money on that, that's totally fine. I went last year. That's the thing. I went last year and I spent, it was like $300. I don't remember how much it was last year, but it was still a lot of money, and I still spent the money and went, and it was fun. And I think it was probably worth what I spent in having fun with my friends and stuff. I would have probably spent that if I went, on vacation somewhere. So, but I still think it's expensive. So I don't know how.
I'll agree. I think it's expensive and stuff. Me personally, I wouldn't spend an amount of money equal to rent to camp out. But let's say this was some other, not even Rotor, right? Let's say it was like, I don't know what the fuck else I'm into. Currently, I'm really having fun lock picking, right? So let's say there's like some picking convention that was $800. I wouldn't pay that either. I don't have that kind of fucking money to throw away like that. And I don't want to say throw away because I don't want to be offensive to anybody doing it. Obviously, you spend your money on what you want to do and have fun with what you want to do. Like nobody can tell you not to spend your money on something that brings you joy, for sure. People are allowed to comment on the price of something and the value of it that they perceive you may get out of it. You know what I mean? They're perfectly in the right to comment on that, such as we did. But nobody can tell you what the fucking spend is your money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially if you earned it hard. If you fucking are living off an inheritance and you spend it on that, people can talk shit. Not your fault, but you don't talk shit. But if you work hard for that money, spend on whatever the fuck you want. Just for me personally, in my reality, the same amount of money people are paying for rent is kind of crazy to spend on a couple days camping out. But some people have mentioned music festivals are expensive and things like that. I didn't know. I've never been to a music festival. I don't know. Any big fest I've been to is a punk fest, and you just fucking sleep in your car in the gutter or whatever, So I have no real world experience with like larger events and their cost. But I don't know. You know what I mean? So if I scroll down here, to their credit, like I said, I like Bubby and his mom and Let's Fly RC. I think they're all fantastic people, and the rest of the crew and Rotor Riot are homies and shit. The rest of the crew, the people that appear in episodes now and then, but it's corporate corporate structure and the way companies work that I take issue with. Rotor Riot's transitioning. It seems like they got rid of Drew and fucking Capper and all the people that started it and were in it for a while. It's in a whole new cast and everything. Bardwell is one of the only people that's still around, and Cricket from the old crew that fuck with them, I feel like. So I'm like, cool, let them evolve, let them do their thing. They might still have a corporate structure I disagree with, but like I was gonna say, to their credit, it looks like it's about $300 for the pilot pass. So you're paying $100 a day to go in and fly a big ass fucking bando and hang out with your homies and shit. I think that's fine. I don't think that's overpriced at all. $100 a day is what it seems like here. Again, I don't know the details because I'm just reading off the website, but $100 a day, you go have fun, fucking whatever. $1,000 to camp in an inflatable tent that a volunteer sets up for you. Personally, I wouldn't be paying that shit. That's just me though. Obviously, like I said, you do whatever the fuck you want to do. So that's the opening to the podcast.
I spent some time you know, just like digging around in comments and stuff. Cause that's what I do. I enjoy comments on posts more than I do anything else.
I don't want to ever read any comments.
You don't have, I know, but I
don't want to know everybody's opinion on every fucking matter. That's basically what social media is you're just reading somebody's opinion on a matter. I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, I'll hang out with you if you're cool and shit, but I don't give a fuck about your opinion on every single fucking issue. My camera's about to die. I'm going to switch it over.
Yeah. So, I only read comments just to kind of see what's going on. And there's one thing I do want to talk about. I do agree that I was wrong in some instances of that. The irony is the responses that people had, you know, like there were a lot of like comments in general, you know, Facebook, Barbell's video that were also just misinformation about us, which is just so funny. It's just so funny to me that you have like people are upset about that. People just want to be upset.
Yeah, for sure. People do just want a reason to be fucking upset. My new favorite one was people that didn't donate on the FPV part, calling it a scam and shit because I haven't worked on it in the winter.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what, are y'all from fucking Florida and Arizona? You don't understand how the winter works?
Dude,
like people, you know, I said before, obviously people have, this video looks like garbage now.
It's all right.
People that did pitch in, yeah, I owe you an answer to the progress on it. But most of those people I've talked to, and they understand that you don't really go work on fucking property when there's snow on the ground and shit. So my new thing is I sold it. If anybody asks, I sold the property and I bought a car. That's my not to anybody that pitched, but any of these fucking douchebags that are just trying to grief me. If they ask, tell them I stole the property. I'm trying to spread that rumor. And you actually said that it came back already, right?
Dude, in Facebook, there are people commenting. And even on that Barbell video, somebody wrote, didn't you sell the property? And Barbell's like, that'd be public information. Has anybody checked into this? And but there are people on Facebook saying that you sold the property and went quiet. And I was like,
I make a video every single. I do a live stream, and make a video every week where I talk about
people asked about the fucking park on the last episode, and we talk about it in it.
Yeah.
So no one even wants to spend the time to actually research. Unlike us, we don't want to spend the time to research either.
Just read the comments where I answer it. Like people are talking mad shit. A lot of times they'll hide them from the channel, but people have a genuine question or just even a dickhead about the park, I'll answer them.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is look in the comments because it happened. You know, I get that question a lot. Like it's been winter, so I haven't worked. I said this.
Also, like how? What do they think that you buy the land and immediately an FPV park appears? It doesn't. It's anything that you make is going to take time, regardless. Even if it wasn't winter.
The past 2 trips that we went out there, the entirety of it was spent clearing land. Was cutting down old dead trees that were leaning like this, ready to fall over and kill people, making it a little safer for us to work in. The entire time was spent cutting down fucking trees. And there's like this ivy kind of shit, clearing back ivy to make little pathways for the camps and all that. Like it's raw land. It's not developed land. That's why we were able to get it for $30,000 instead of $80,000 was its raw land that we're working on. So that, you know, I guess a lot of people have never like been out of the city or whatever, but it's going to take a fucking minute to work on and shit.
Now there's that rumor, but there's also complaints that people are like, and I don't know how many different ways to explain this, but you're never going to please anybody. So it's not really worth it.
Right.
But like people are upset that you bought the land, right? And there's 2 conspiracy theorists in this right now. There's the you sold the land conspiracy theory, and there's the you bought the land just for your friends, or whatever. And it's like the thing is, what people don't understand is raising money for something like that was difficult. You found land that would work within your price range, so you wouldn't have to take a bunch of more money from people. Right. So you stopped.
And we weren't making anymore. The GoFundMe stalled out at like 30 something grand.
Yeah. So like, you know, someone said something like, oh, he didn't make the 70K. They took the money, bought some land that's private, and then it's never going to be a public park.
Right. It's never going to be a public park. That's correct.
So
you're never going to be able to just go out there randomly on a day and fly. We didn't make enough money for that. And in the GoFundMe, it says that. And I told everybody the entire time, when I knew we weren't, and I talked about this last time, when I knew we weren't going to make enough, I was like, hey, we're not going to be able to afford just a piece of land in the middle of nowhere anybody can drive up to. Might be a little more private. You know, we'll have events out there for people to come out once a month and shit. And everybody that pitched in was cool with that and everybody was following the project. And I pitched in, was like, yeah, that sounds good. Like, we understand and shit. But people that heard the beginning of it and then heard that I got some that weren't in the middle, I guess, are like, oh, you didn't do what you said you were going to do. Like, yeah, if you were following the project, you would understand. I even, updated the GoFundMe every step of the way. You can follow it on there. It's still up.
Yeah. So that's a big thing too. And these people will never see this. They'll just keep, sitting in their bullshit.
Like I said, people are going to want a reason to fucking get pissy. And if they got to make something up, they're going to make something up.
We'll see.
But as it is, the park is out there. It's not just a wide open fucking piece of land in the middle of nowhere that anybody can drive up to. That was the goal. We didn't make enough. So now we're working with what we got, which is like 30 grand. We got a little 10-acre piece of land. Definitely anybody can come out there and fly it. Anybody who wants to come out there and fly it. We're just going to be doing like once a month. Whoever wants to come out and can. Once it's ready too, which is going to be a minute,
So that makes a bunch of sense to me. Like, I don't understand how that doesn't make sense. Well, even if you raise money and it was public and you own this land and you just let random people on the land when you weren't there, that's a liability for you as a
that was never the plan. Since the very, very beginning, I've said what I'm probably going to do is you send me a photocopy of your ID. I have a lawyer, pay a lawyer to drop a waiver for you to go out there. You sign the waiver. You let me know you're going to go out there, make a day of it or whatever. It was never going to be just roll up at your leisure. It was always going to be let somebody know you're going there so they can tell you the protocols, how to get in, sign the waiver so I don't get fucking sued and shit.
Yeah.
Like I pitched it as like a paintball field, basically.
Yeah.
It's the fucking beginning. And if people understand, I guess they've never been to a paintball park. Like, you sign a waiver, you go onto somebody's land, you fucking play paintball all you want and shit. The only difference, this is free. You don't have to pay to fucking get onto it. It's for the community. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People just like, it's the Facebook people. Facebook FPV is completely
different.
On
Facebook because it's all fucking fake. Like,
dude, Facebook FPV is a different thing. Like, I figured it out. I can only
imagine.
There's Facebook FPV, and it's just the most. Like, I found out today, apparently I make a bunch of negative videos, and I make just a bunch of videos about Rotor Riot. Apparently. I've just made a bunch of videos about Rotor Riot being negative all the time.
We've addressed ourselves talking about it on this podcast too much, but it comes up because we talk about like news and shit and FPV, like what's happening, and they happen to just have been in the news a lot. We have opinions.
I guess I don't consider the podcast really my content.
No, I mean either. This is just, like I said, I feel like it's just us talking about some FPV bullshit, making a little podcast to discuss things. But I hate my video right now. It's so fucking bad.
But there was someone on Facebook who was like, I don't know. They don't like me. They don't like me at all.
Facebook.
It's funny. All my videos are negative, and I'm like, my videos are not really negative.
I wouldn't say they were negative.
I don't think I've ever made a negative video. I think the most negative thing I ever did was argue with that lady on the horse.
Yeah, fuck that lady.
Yeah, dude. But like,
I know what she's talking about.
But I didn't do anything. I was just there and it was recording, so I thought it was funny to put it up, and my GoPro just happened to be recording. And I'm gonna, like, if somebody's gonna argue with me, I'm gonna argue back. It's just, I don't know, it's just who I am. I was trying to get to the point where it's like, listen, I'll go away, but she's just like questioning me, and I'm like, all right, whatever, like, it's on.
Okay.
Yeah, but so that's just funny. Like, if you ever want to make content on the internet, just understand that there's going to be like people that have a problem with it. So for whatever reason,
have a problem with fucking everything. Like,
yeah,
I knew going into this park, it was a huge fucking project. It was going to be a big undertaking. People were going to be relying on me. I also let everybody know from the beginning, like, I'm just one freaking dude. Like, when it came down, I bought 3 houses in my life, right? I bought a house for $1,700 with my ex, a shell of a house in West Virginia. Literally, it was just filled with trash, and it was wood. And if you look between the slats in the wood, you could see outside. Those are our walls, right? So we live in a fucking shack that we bought. We split up, and then I bought a house in rural Pennsylvania for $1,000. It had a hole from the roof down to the basement. It was the worst shape ever. It was a shell. I gutted it, tried to live in it, didn't work out. And then I have my house that I have now. which was like $15,000 or whatever. So I've bought how I understand how to do that shit, escrow. I understand how to change money. This is the most I've ever paid for anything. This land costs more than my fucking house. And I was doing it 100% by myself. I was freaking the fuck out during points where I had to like between the fundraising and sending the money and making sure everything was legit. And I had nobody to fucking help me. It's just me. You know what I mean? So I was already hella stressed out about this shit. And I'm like, I'm just one motherfucking dude trying to do this. I'm trying to do it for fucking everybody. Like the point of this is to have a place where people can come and fly and have fun, not worry about FAA bullshit, not worry about whatever. Just camp out. You know, like I always said, bring your fucking kids. You want to go on vacation, come out here. I don't have to be there. You can just go sign your little waiver and fucking camp out. Like that still holds. That's still a fucking thing. But obviously, we can't just have a bunch of random people because there are troublemakers and shit. So anybody with good intentions can come out there and camp and work on it and fly and do whatever the fuck they want. We just really got to get it going first. And I'm just one fucking person. Matty Blunts has been a godsend. He's helped me a shit ton. Chubby FPV comes out there whenever we're out there because he lives near it to help out and shit. Help out. Just do more work than me. He does more work than me. Shit, you know what I mean? Not even help out. But it's just, it's a big fucking project. So people that have bad intentions that are just trying to grief me about it, like go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Shit's, I'm going to do this at the pace that we can fucking do this and shit. People that did donate for the park that have questions, hit me up. I'm here. I'll talk to you. We'll have a fucking conversation about it. If you feel I'm not working fast enough on it, then my bad, dude. Like winter happened. We're not going to go work on it in winter and shit. And I'm so sick of saying that. I'm just like, fuck off. There's not the people that donated, but to random comments, I'm like, hey, it's fucking winter, dude. Fuck off. I'm not going to go sleep outside in 20 degrees. I hit up the homie that lives near there today because I've been looking at the weather because I want to go out there because I'm very excited about it. And I was like, what's the weather? He said it's snowing this morning. So I'm like, cool. Well, I'm not going to go out there anytime soon if it's still fucking snowing.
It was cold in Ohio too today. Fucking sucked.
Yeah, I'm not going to like sleep. I was homeless for fucking ever. I'm not going to, and I'm not using it as an excuse. I also just don't, I was going to say is I don't want to go sleep in the snow in a fucking tent and then work in the cold and shit. You know what I mean? And then sleep outside. Like, why? I just want to do it in the summer. I want to do it when it's nicer weather and I can enjoy it and shit.
Exactly.
But if anybody, any haters ask, I sold it and I bought a car, like 93 Corolla or some bullshit. I don't know cars. Pick a car that sounds believable.
I said a 98 Accord to somebody.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I sold it and I bought a car, but I'm not showing it in my videos. That's why I'm riding my bike. It's because I'm scared. I don't want to show the car in my videos.
Yeah, I know. Living that.
I will say the people that have pitched it on it, they went under comments or even reached out. They've been like, yeah, bro, hey, just so you know, I know like you're working on it. Everything's all good. But I can't wait to see what you do with it and shit. So.
I do want to say everything we've done is all staged. All for drama. Podcast, everything. Yeah. All the drama is just staged for views. All of it. That's all we do.
No, I wish you would have told me that.
I know. Sorry. Should have told you.
Good at it.
No, I don't like. I mean, honestly, like to an extent, sometimes doing the Rampage thing. Yeah, obviously, we wanted to make that video for views. Like the only.
Well, you can say that. I would want to say we didn't like misrepresent anything for views.
No, we didn't misrepresent. Yeah.
We wanted to make a video about our opinions on the event that was coming up, and we thought we would get views by talking about that subject. Yeah.
So like everything, like that's how you make. I mean, because I think a lot of people want to say like, oh, you just do this stuff for views. It's like, well, to an extent, I'm on YouTube to get views.
To an extent, yeah.
I'm gonna do what
it just depends on how you get those views. There's nothing wrong with wanting your video. Like when I made the Gel Blaster video, I wanted that video to get mad views because that was a fucking big old project that I did. It took me a lot. It didn't get many views. I was disappointed.
Yeah, like I don't want to. I'm not trying to like create controversy for views. That's not.
Yeah, exactly. That's low hanging fruit.
Not in FPV, right? It's like such a passive thing. We're not doing politics, so
yeah, it's community. You're supposed to do uplifting content. That's why I made my last video where I was like everything right with FPV, because I felt like the past few essay videos that I did were kind of trending negative, talking down on stuff, being negative about things that are happening. So I was like, that's not what I want to do. I like making kind of more, I don't set out to make inspirational or fucking, you know what I mean? But I want my shit to be positive. I want you to come away with my video being happy, not mad. My videos. So that I was like, I need to make another one. It's like, and people responded to that well. I was stoked on that.
Yeah. Also, like, that's it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, good talk.
Good talk. We had
podcast over. we apologize for misinformation. I explained a little more about the park. We should also title this one something about the park so people will watch it too. To get those views. Let's title this one like "We Apologize" and Bachgrinder reveals the FPV park secret or some bullshit.
Yeah, FPV park truth, and then I'll put a picture of a Corolla.
And then I'll put a picture of you. Park.
I'll get a picture of you.
Yeah, in a Corolla. So the TLDR for everybody, basically the park, if you want to know, hey, what's going on with the FPV park? If anybody asks, it's in the mountains on the East Coast, and it's been winter for the past few months, so it hasn't really been ideal working conditions. As soon as we get some decent weather, I was hoping late April. It's snowing there right now, but I was hoping late April. We'll see if we can still do that. I'm going to go out there with whoever wants to go out there, not just my friends. I'll comment on that. Somebody said that it's only for me, my friends. There's been people out there, I don't fucking know who they are. They just hit me up and they seem cool. And they're like, hey, we want to go like camp out there. And I said, sure, go right ahead. And they sent me some photos of the park and it looked fucking beautiful and shit. So people have gone out there that are not my friends. I hope that person will be a friend one day. If they're just a stranger, that I haven't met yet.
Yeah. So if you're not a dick,
I'm going to do a dab in the middle of my senses.
If you're not an asshole and don't just talk shit on the internet with no information.
If you just want to go check it out, like it's raw land right now.
Then
I cleared some camping spots. There's the first gap. There's a fire pit. Like it's beautiful out there. Hit me up. But in the summer, we're going to be going out there once a month to work on it.
Yeah, I'm.
So if you want to join any of those work camps, fucking come on out. We're shitting in buckets and we're sleeping on the ground, but it's pretty out there.
Exactly. So, yeah, I've had to like tell people, but it doesn't mean anything coming from me. Like they're like, oh, you're just because you're biased, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what
biased towards the truth, bitch.
Yeah, like I don't know how else to explain how it's not difficult to understand.
Somebody had hit me up recently that. We had talked years ago about the FPV park idea because I've had the idea for years. I was always scared to do it because I didn't know how to do it. It's a huge fucking ordeal. Shit like this happening was part of my fear, but whatever. I don't get rid of a random person, but they went up, ended up buying their own park, hit me up via email. Fuck, I think I need to respond to them, but they hit me up and they're like, this was a fucking huge deal. And they're doing like bulldozers and fucking installing shit. Like, and I was like, I know, like even this small scale one is a huge fucking undertaking and moving slow. And they've been doing it for years and it's still not complete. You know what I mean? Like it is a big fucking undertaking to do anything like this, like to work on raw land. Like we're gonna have to grade shit out for cars to get back there and stuff, set up a little parking lot and everything. That's not easy. You got to rent fucking Bobcats and drive them around to grade out what you want to grade out and tear shit up. Like it's gonna be a thing. I've said before, this time next year, if we haven't worked on it anymore, then start griefing me about it. You know what I mean? If a year has gone by since I've only been able to go out there 3 times since we purchased it. So if an entire summer and a year goes by and we haven't made any upgrades to it, then you can start being like, what the fuck, bro? But give me a fucking chance to even start the thing before you start bitching, Not people that donated, obviously. I'm talking about just random fools leaving comments.
I think it's fucked up. That park should have been up the moment that you signed the paper.
I mean, the only people that have been out there to help me are Maddie Blunts and Chubby. And people have offered and shit, but when we go out there, nobody comes out.
The park should have been
3 times we've gone, so.
All the obstacles and everything should have just manifested themselves.
I also switched gears. I wanted to like put up a bunch of man-made shit, but now I want to use the natural landscape and trees and lumber from the land to make the gates and everything and make it kind of like, a forest made for drones, which I think would be super sick. The trees are tall and skinny. They got a little scraggle, so a pole saw, dude. You spend a couple hours with a pole saw, and then bitches are clean. You can fly wherever the fuck you want. Like it looks like it's super easy to maintain and stuff.
Yeah,
I gotta get a pole saw.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like it's just it. I don't know why I hate when people say shit, like in comments and stuff that's just sort of based. That's not really true.
Like we did.
Well, no. Well, the thing is that what we did on this podcast, we corrected.
Right. And it wasn't super malicious.
No, and it wasn't.
I was upset that I saw a super high price for camping. I was misinformed. But I guess you could say these people about the park are misinformed. They don't know what the fuck's going on, but they are coming out of a place of maliciousness.
Yeah, I think that
I was just upset at a perceived injustice, I'll say.
Yeah, and I don't know enough, but I just think that if I'm going to talk about rumors, we're just going to have to I'm going to put an alert up that says rumor. Might not be true.
I'm glad that this happened, because now I know me, I know you too, but I know we're going to be a lot more careful about what we say and misrepresenting things. Like, so yeah. I'm sorry to Bubby's mom and everybody over there and everybody that's working hard on this event for people. I apologize for misrepresenting it, but I'm glad it happened. So now in the future, I'll hopefully not talk out of my ass as much. No promises, but I'll definitely do some more research before talking about other people's events.
I'm trying to think of any other fake news that we can.
I don't know about this. I sold the park to buy a Camry. Rotor Riot is only $800 for an inflatable tent that volunteers set up. I had to get that zinger in. And what else is happening in FPV? Carl from HD Zero is partnered with. No, I can't think of anything. The new DJI shit's coming out. You seen that? The new
Avata.
So apparently the faceplate doesn't flip all the way up. It's just like adjustments to get it tighter on your face. But it's also DJI. I saw this somewhere. I don't know if it was. I don't want to spread misinformation. Somewhere I read this was more marketed towards the camera drones that do FPV, not FPV like we do FPV. So these new goggles, they have all the goofy shit in them, and they have their because they're basically for camera drones to fly around and do camera drone shit. The other smaller goggles are for like our kind of FPV, and they might be making another one for us. I don't fucking know, but that makes sense, because you're like, why do you need all this fucking bullshit in here? Why do you need pass through for fucking FPV? You don't at all, because it's not for FPV. It's for camera drones.
Oh, like AR, like video, like a camera.
Have you seen the new DJI goggles? No. They have two cameras in front for you like hit it and you get passed through to the real world.
Oh, nice.
And everybody's like, why the fuck would I even need this? But if you look at it from a camera drone's perspective, it makes no more sense. But
it really doesn't.
So you're flying your fucking DJI thing and you're coming in and you're like, oh shit, I need to look at the drone to land. You hit the button and you fucking press the button to land instead of pulling the goggles.
Well, DJI drones will just land themselves.
That's what I'm saying. You fly close, look at it through your pass.
You know what it is?
Hit land.
Actually, here's my theory. Here's my theory. And this may not be true. I don't know if this is true. This is clearly my opinion and a theory. So maybe it's because of beyond visual line of sight. Like, so you can actually see
have
the
line of sight through them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's to bypass that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Does it have...
It has... There's a very low resolution, from what I've read, a lower resolution window of the drone feed in the bottom corner.
So is it AR, or is it just like another?
It just passed through. No, I don't think there's any AR involved. I believe it just passed through video to the real world, and then you have a small screen that shows the drone view that you can also look at.
Damn.
So it's probably to circumvent stuff in the US, I guess. Or does it people be BVLOS regulations, the EU, UK, or any of that? I don't know if they do, but I know in the US we do, so that might be to circumvent that. Could just be to try to sell new goggles to camera drone operators. I don't know. I'm sure you can use them for FPV just fine as you use, your current DJI goggles now, but I don't think they're really designed for like our FPV, but they'll probably work for it.
I'm cool with just HD0 goggles, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, do HD0, Locksnell, analog all in one system if you want to.
The thing is, when I try to talk about HD0 to people, they'll state things. Well, I'll talk about how DJI is not the best system, and I think the reason that I believe that, I think that DJI has the best hardware for transmitting digital video to goggles, and it's reliable in the sense that it just works out of the box. You don't really have to fuck around with anything. There's no firmware.
Hey, dude, you gotta fucking update everything. You gotta register it.
Yeah, but it's a little easier. It's a little bit easier
than just plugging one in.
Well, two,
Like HD0, you could literally plug that into a flight controller.
unless the
fly.
firmware
You can
is
run
like
mismatched firmware. You can run mismatched firmware on HD0.
you can now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
You've
You're
always
right.
been able to.
Okay. Well, either way. So what I'm getting at is, while DJI is like very consumer friendly to a point. Okay, if you want to just like get the plugs and plug it in, I don't know, whatever. You can do the same thing with HD0. But my point is that even still, the problem with DJI, no matter all the benefits, is that you basically get locked into a single system. That if you wanted to do anything else, like let's say you wanted to try HD0, well, then you're going to have to buy you can buy the goggles, and then you have a second set of goggles, or you could buy the VRX, but then you got to buy another set of goggles because that VRX isn't going to work with your DJI goggles.
Well, the thing was, for the longest time, we all had analog goggles because everybody had analog goggles. So when HD0 came out, you could just get the module or borrow your friends to try it or whatever, borrow somebody's, and then DJI got a huge market share. So then it was only DJI goggles. That's what people bought. Nobody's really buying analog goggles. So then people now want to be like, well, fuck, I don't want to just fly DJI. I want to fly tiny whoops and micros and different things. They can't because DJI won't let you. Like you can use a BDI adapter on certain versions of DJI goggles,
The V2s,
to fly analog, but everybody seems to have issues with it. And it's only the certain goggles, I believe. I don't know too much about it, but some people are telling me the newer ones, DJI cuts you off and lets you use the adapter. Which, so you got to hack your products a lot of times in the future, but DJI just seems super anti-consumer in that regard. Like they want you to only use their video system and nothing else with their products. I don't like that. That's not my FPV. You know what I mean? That's not our side of FPV. That's like camera drones and shit. Because there's a whole, after I made a video, this dude left a comment. I used a clip of him and he's super cool about it. I'm sorry, I forget your name, bro. But he was like, there's your FPV and there's cinematic FPV. That's how I found it. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad you said that because I wasn't really thinking about that. There's like our carbon frame fucking freestyle racing side of FPV, and there's the people that are like cinematographers that found FPV drones for getting their camera shots of cool stuff. They don't give a fuck that much about our side. There's crossover. A lot of them do give a fuck. I don't want to misrepresent that, but they're into it for their art and stuff. You know what I mean? Their shots for their movies, for their films, for their whatevers, and we're into it for like the flying aspect of it. We fly the drone, they fly the camera. I'll put it that way. That's an old Gap fucking thing, but we fly the drone, they fly the camera, and there is a difference. So I entirely forgot the point of this rant. Where was I trying to lead to with fucking this?
I don't know.
I made a really good point. I made a good reference and I was proud of myself and I forgot where this was leading. But
because
that's the more mainstream side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is the camera drones. So the cinema, of course, is it's media and shit. So that's always going to be DJI. DJI stuff's going to be expensive. They're going to lock you into their fucking system. Our side of it is like DIY, everybody sharing resources, sharing tunes, sharing drones and things and what work together, mismatching parts and things. So there's a difference now.
Yeah, no, I get it. But that's what I'm saying is that if you're new to it, some people say, oh, just get DJI because it's going to be easier or it's going to be the best system. I think
it's going to limit you down the line.
Yeah, the thing is that I bought my first set of goggles were analog goggles. And I didn't really know. I almost got walk snail, but then I ended up buying DJI goggles. So I flew DJI, I flew analog, and then I flew HD0. And the thing is, if HD0 goggles were around when I started, I would have been able to try almost everything except DJI.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
same if you get analog goggles, have HDMI in, you can try HDMI, or you can try walk snail, you can try HD0.
And the cost is just cheaper, right? I mean, if you have all the money in the world, it doesn't matter. But if you're worried about budget, then you can just purchase, you could purchase some, Orcas or the Sky Zone goggles, and then you can do any digital system. The two digital systems.
I was saying last time, I think like a lot of DJI that I've seen personally, a lot of DJI pilots are getting a pair of analog goggles to try out different systems and stuff just because they want to fly tiny whoops. They want to try HD0. They want to try these different things. They want to fly small craft because it's super fun. And it's really hard with an O3. Like you just got to build props around an O3. You're not putting that in the drone, you're building around that, it seems like. Although Newbie Drone seems to be coming out with some pretty cool looking little micros with decased O3s and bullshit.
Oh yeah, those things. I have an
O3. Yeah, that looks like probably if you fly DJI, it's probably your best bet to get something real small that's not loud as fuck. Like they got that Pavo, but all those are so loud. Like, don't fly around downtown with that thing. Everybody's gonna be looking up at it. You want like a little 70 millimeter tiny whoop.
Yeah. 1S for being discreet.
1 at 2S max.
Well, those Pavos, there's a Pavo Pico, which is a 2S.
That's a little better, but if it's heavy, it's gonna be loud. That's the thing. If the props are struggling to fucking keep that thing in the air, it's gonna be loud as shit. That's not what you want when you're gorilla whooping. That's what's gonna give gorilla whooping. Some people are like, oh, you fly in public. Not a lot of people because it's a tiny whoop. But if you got some big ass loud one that's like interrupting people's day, that's gonna be a thing. Not a 65 mil that's just like the most silent thing ever cruising around, looking all harmless.
So
like if the public thinks it's a drone, they're gonna get pissed. They don't really have a frame of reference. It's like a little toy. They don't fucking care. In my experiences.
So one thing I've noticed in the sphere of the internet that I didn't really think about before. Well, I've seen it a couple times. I've seen people subtly making comments about flying your drone in private property, not like a micro, but like going to like a office park or like a construction site, and people take issue with that. Like FPV
Who fucking
pilots
cares? Some company owns that shit. Who fucking cares?
FPV pilots are taking issue with flying in private property, and it's ruining the hobby.
Well, then don't do it. And if other people want to do it, let them. Who gives a shit? They're not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Like if you go and you trash a place before you leave, and you leave props and fucking fast food trash everywhere, then don't do that. But if you like everybody else does, and you go clean up your fucking drone mess and shit before you leave, then who cares? It's the earth. Like it's somewhere to use. Who gives a fuck who owns it? It's some piece of shit company. Private property means nothing to me if a fucking mega corp owns it. That means go use that as if you would your own,
Yeah, they're
privately owned shit. Like, like a person owning a parking lot somewhere, a lot, like don't fucking fly here. Like, oh yeah, no problem. That's yours. But Chase Bank, the back of a Chase Bank on a Sunday, fuck you, I'm flying there. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't think.
But I'm not, malicious. I'm not destructive. I'm gonna clean up my trash and everything, and nobody's gonna know on Monday morning that I was even there.
I've never broken anything, ever, flying.
I've never damaged anybody else's property flying a drone. I did run into a car one time in my early days. I hit the tire though. Nothing happened to the car. But I'm thinking. I've flown a lot, but I usually don't fly around other people's shit too often, especially if I don't think that I'm going to be able to fly properly. But no, I've never damaged. I've ran into, buildings and shit. I've hit windows before for sure. Never fucking broke them though. Yeah. If I did, I would stay behind. If I ran, they get it on security camera and shit, probably find me anyway and throw a license plate. So I always figured if I smashed a window, I would just fucking wait around or leave a note or whatever and be like, yeah, dog, let's go. How much? $5,000 or some bullshit. But yeah, I'm not going to fucking try to run. Maybe in my younger days, in my youth, when I wouldn't think that far ahead, but now I'm like, we're probably on camera. They got our car plates. They're going to find us anyway. I'll make it worse. So
yeah, I don't know. I've never thought about it. I'm like, I'm not doing any damage here. It doesn't matter. And I think there's also, to be honest, like when people
open up, brother.
When people talk,
this is a safe place.
Yeah, we're safe here. When people talk about ruining the hobby or doing things that ruin the hobby, I've yet, like, how long have you been flying FPV?
8 years.
Have you heard that phrase for 8 years?
Since I started flying graveyards in the very beginning, I was ruining the hobby by flying in an abandoned graveyard. So not graveyards, just the one. So I've been hearing that since I fucking started.
Are you still flying drones? Is your hobby ruined?
No, not even with these regulations and shit.
Has anyone's hobby ruined? No. Like the thing is that the more
a guy crashed in a field, caught it on fire.
Yeah.
He was there and was like, oh, my bad. Hobby's still fine.
There's how many the more rules that there are just means there's more rules you don't follow. So you can't ruin the hobby unless you follow, like the hobby's only ruined if you follow the rules. Like to the extent of like, and I'm not saying being an idiot. I'm saying like if you think remote ID is a result of Rotor Riot years ago diving that bridge or whatever, if that type of action caused remote ID, well then don't put remote ID on your drone and then it's not a problem.
Dive the bridge. Yeah, you're not going to put remote ID on your drone and then dive the bridge.
Yeah, just don't.
You're going to do it again.
Just don't put your remote ID on your drone. Therefore, it's not ruining. I guess I just don't understand the mentality of I know that, like, to be fair though, I know there are some people who cannot not comply with things like that. Right.
I mean, anybody that feels compelled to put a remote ID on their drone, you also have to go get your ham radio license. And I know I say that a lot, but it's like quoting the Bible to justify something. You can't pick and choose the parts that you want to use for you. You know what I mean? Like, and people do, obviously, but with something like remote ID, I'd say, no, you can't say, oh, Jesus told to treat all animals with compassion, right? And then go fucking eat factory farm shit. You know what I mean? That's kind of hypocritical. You can't be like, well, I follow the Bible. I believe animals should be, Jesus said, all animals should be treated with respect and compassion and empathy and everything. And you go fucking buy a cheeseburger and that cow was scared for its life, its entire life, crammed into some fucking stall and then a truck and died scared and crying. You know what I mean? Like, not to get too much into it, but that's I feel like what a lot of fake Christians do. And then that's the same thing you can do with like something else you're passionate about, like a hobby. Like, oh, this guy's ruining this thing that I really enjoy. He's gonna fuck it up for everybody. So that's he doesn't have this remote ID. So that person gets it, but then they don't. Somebody else is going to be like, hey, you don't have a ham radio license. I operate my fucking Bofang here. I do it legally. I have my ham radio fucking certs. You need to get that because you're going to be ruining FCC shit for all of us ham radio operators. Like, somebody's always going to take issue with something.
Yeah.
So if you're like getting down, I'm just saying that don't get down on other people while you yourself are being a D-bag, to somebody else or whatever. Like, fucking chill.
I wonder
if somebody's not bothering you with their actions, let them fucking do their actions. Who gives a fuck? If they're not hurting the hobby genuinely, if they're not fucking bothering you or hurting you in any way, just let them do their fucking thing.
I wonder if those actions, any sort of perceived destructive FPV actions, actually contributed to any sort of ruining the hobby. Like, I wonder if you could even quantify that.
Ruining the hobby, I guess, would be more regulation in this case, right? So let's say more regulation is ruining the hobby. Not one FPV drone has been cited for anything. It's all been camera drones. Anything where they're like, we need to like regulate these, it's all been camera drone stuff that flies high in the air and far away. Everything's about being safe for air traffic, right? That's like 90% of it is being accountable for air traffic. Well, FPV drones fly 10 feet off the ground within like 1,000-foot radius of the operator. So that does not include us at all. You can't ruin the hobby that way by just flying on the fucking ground. Regulations are coming for air traffic. We're not air traffic. We're in the air, but we're like in the air like an RC car is when it jumps off a ramp in the air.
Yeah. I just think that so any sort of regulations then were for drones potentially. I don't think that we can prove this because I think regulations are just a natural course of anything.
Well, how you enforce laws is, by making regulations to interpret those laws.
Any technology or anything eventually becomes regulated. And I don't think it's a result of actions caused by civilians or like the citizens. It's not like
speed it up.
I think there possibly are some things, but I think it's inevitable regardless. And I don't think doing one thing is going to ultimately cause it to happen any one way or another. Like you have the camera drones do all kinds of fucked up shit, blocking emergency aircraft and shit like that in forest fires. That's an option. That's a
no FPV drones have been busted for that at all. It's all camera drones.
Yeah. So like,
there's a difference.
So people who fly camera drones are probably more like, if we can actually quantify that these actions have actually caused more regulation, then it would be camera drones, not FPV drones flying in private property.
Right. Correct. So therefore, we literally cannot ruin the hobby. Well, through flying, we can't ruin the hobby through our flying and making videos with it.
But we can do
sketchy places.
The only way that actually what we can do when we ruin the hobby is we can spread misinformation.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we can spread misinformation when we're trying to be passionate about things that we see. I don't know. That's been about an hour though, huh?
Yeah, it's
good supplemental pod. This is supplemental, right? We're gonna put this one out this Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll put it up whenever.
All right, this was our Dead Cell Apology tour. Legit apologies to Bubby's mom and anybody that works hard on doing that event. I did not mean, honestly, to misrepresent your shit. I was just like, $850 to camp on the ground, get fucked. That's the price of rent. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I was wrong. So my apologies for that for sure. I do think that's a bit high for an event, and also if you find value in that, I'm not coming down on you at all. Fucking spend your money on that shit, dog. Go have the best time you've had.
Yeah, you're gonna die anyway.
People, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're gonna die one day anyway. Can't
Money's
take it with
pointless.
You. Go meet some new people, go see your old friends, have fun, fly drones, and share the passion, that you have with a bunch of other people in the same place. I think that's cool.
For sure.
You could maybe just do it cheaper.
And I'll probably be there, and I'll wait for all the people in the comments to approach me and tell me what they really think.
Somebody's just gonna punch you in the fucking face after all this if they see you there.
I
They're just
hope
gonna
so.
run up and fucking deck you.
I hope so. I love fucking getting hit in the face.
No, don't punch anybody in the face from this podcast.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Don't punch anybody in the face. Nothing really ever comes from punching somebody in the face.
No, most people wouldn't say shit to me, to be honest.
No, yeah, well, now somebody is, since you.
There's someone's gonna come up to me and they're gonna be like,
now some big old boys like
some big guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna say something to this motherfucker.
But I got
Mace.
no, I'm a black belt. I'm just kidding.
Oh shit!
I'm just kidding.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I just carry mace. Like I used to carry a big knife, but I figure any altercation I get in is going to be me versus a gun. So having a knife isn't going to do shit. And I don't want to carry a gun. I can't legally carry a gun, so I'm like, well, I'll have a mace. That's like my best bet is mace them and run, or mace them and fucking tackle.
No, I don't think it's a big deal. I just think that it's just reactionary shit. We're all like living in a fucking post late stage capitalistic what's the fucking
Well, no, I mean, people get fucking robbed here. Like I'm seriously in danger all the time, so I gotta
Yeah.
bring something. That's not just paranoia.
No, I'm saying we live
I've had guns pulled on me.
No, I'm talking in regards to people like in the comments, being
Oh
mad.
yeah,
We're
I
just
don't worry
living
too
in
much about comments. I like to read comments. I like to
Yeah.
respond to people and interact with the community, but just bullshit like that, I don't give a fuck about
Yeah.
some random person with a no profile and a screen name with numbers at the end of
Well-
it, no videos uploaded. I give a fuck what you have to say.
Well,
Especially if it's negative.
I'm just saying we live in like this dystopian reality where people will just, write shitty comments, but if they see you in
Your
real
video
life,
gone?
huh?
Oh, your video's gone on my screen.
Oh,
Is it gone on your screen?
yeah. It's because
Well, that's the end of the podcast. Thanks for watching, everybody.
yeah, we won't finish my thought, I guess, at all.
No, finish your thought. We'll just put a little graphic up.
Hold on. All right.
Oh, there you are.
So my point is, I guess what I was trying to say is that we live in this fucking wild ass world where all information is just given to us all the time, and everyone wants to have an opinion on every little bit of thing, even if it's the most inconsequential, unimportant thing in the world. And I think that people online are typically different than they are in the real world.
A lot. Hugely different.
But some
I see
people
that all the time.
But some people are the same, and those people terrify me.
Well, they'll keep a lot of that's the whole thing. Social media is just people's opinions. They'll keep their opinion to themselves in polite company. Whereas on the internet, you tell everybody your fucking opinion. Nobody gives a shit. It just starts drama.
Exactly.
I can go to an FPV event. Let's talk politically. I can go to an FPV event with conservatives, Republicans, liberal motherfuckers, anarchists, you know what I mean? And we'll have a good time and fly drones. Like there's been that crossover before. Nobody talks about politics because nobody gives a shit because you're there to fly drones. And that shit exists on the internet mainly these days, Like if you get real life with people, you're just gonna have a good time and have fun and do stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't give a shit. Fuck it. The internet ain't real. Also, I'm not looking at Instagram. I'm not on Instagram. So if any of you message me on Instagram, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just sick of Instagram, so I'm not on it anymore. I'm just leaving my accounts up to randomly post. But send me an email if you ever got to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
That was my outro.
Oh wait. Never mind.
Fuck, here we go. Okay, good.
No, we're done.
I gotta pee so bad,
We never checked the voicemail. It's all right.
Next episode, leave a voicemail. The number's in the description. We'll check it next episode when we have more time.
Yeah. So next time will be better.
Yep, we promise. Hey, that's my fucking tagline. No, we gotta do the Dead Cell outro, which is see you in hell.
All right. Done.